Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trucker Tank. Today, we are honored to have Bettis Automotive Designz with us. We got Charles Bettis, and everybody say hello to Charles.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Proud to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you on the show. I know I saw you at Tony Justice's Large Cars and Guitars Truck Show, and that was a great show. And at that show, I got to see some of your work where you did the paint corrections for John Hiley, and I was blown away. I mean, it was beautiful. And then this morning, it was called Elegance on 18 Wheels. Or Elegance on 18 Wheels Big Rig Spotlight. I got to watch the YouTube video on that truck where you did all the paint corrections and made it look phenomenal. I mean, when you watch that video, for anybody who wants to watch that video, I'll put the link to that video in the description below this video on YouTube, so you can watch it. But when you're watching that video and you see how great that truck looks, it's his fault. It's Charles's fault.
Thank you. It's a combination of my business partner, who is my wife as well. We put a lot of time in that truck in only about 2.5 to 3 days. And I saw the video this morning also, Van, and I was blown away. It looks amazing. So we're definitely proud to be a part of that.
Well, that's the reason I wanted to have you on the show today as well, is to talk to you and ask, how do you do the paint correction? Because I don't know that much about that part of the business.
So with paint correction, everything starts with a good foundation, so a proper wash. You wash the vehicle, you decon it. So decon is basically using, I use CarPro products for the decontamination, and my some of the stuff I use is by CarPro. They've been in business a long time. But the decon process is it breaks down the dirt, pulls iron deposits and stuff out of the paint, and then clay barring, and that gets everything really, really super clean. And then after that, I actually wiped everything down with your product, Polishable, because it gets water spots and stuff out that you don't have to deal with. And it just helps clean up the surface. And it worked well for us on this truck. Absolutely love the product. So then it's a matter of compounding pads.
Okay. Let me ask a question for those who do not know what one term you threw out is, because, I mean, a lot of people are not professional detailers like yourself. Clay bar. Explain clay bar. What is that?
So clay barring is it's basically it's clay that's designed for pretty much automotive use. That clay is kind of sticky, and you use a lubricant. You can use soap and water, and you go over the surface of that vehicle or truck or whatever you're doing over the paint surface, and the clay helps pull anything that may not have gotten out in the wash process. So paint is not always level, as some people might not know. Your paint's full of hills and valleys and peaks, and that clay will get in there and pull any impurities out of there and make the paint super clean. So when you start prepping, that it's ready to go.
Wow. Can the general consumer buy a clay bar, or do you got to be a professional detailer such as yourself?
No, sir. Everybody can buy a clay bar. AutoZone carries it through Mothers. There's several places online. You can order it through Amazon. It's all over the place on the internet. You just Google automotive clay bar, for detailing it. And there's many different companies out there to use.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no problem.
I figured there's going to be people that wanted an explanation, because not everybody's familiar with that term. Now go ahead, after you've done all that.
So after we do that, we'll use various compounds and pads. So we have a heavy compound, and you'll use a heavy cutting pad, which will normally be our yellow pads. In the detailing world, the pads are basically certain, I wouldn't say abrasives, but the hardness and how they're designed. So the yellow pad would be your heavy cutting. with a heavy compound. Your orange pad would be a medium, and then you'd move on to like a blue pad for polishing with a fine compound. So it's multiple stages of polishing with either a DA. Normally for the pads, you use a dual action polisher, which it rotates and it vibrates at the same time. That's a whole nother story to get into all the different polishers. But also the old conventional way, what a lot of people know is the rotary polisher with a wool pad on it. You use that primarily for your heavy cutting. And that's been around for many, many, many years as the way to polish paint. And from there, it's just
my
working different.
understanding, if you
Go ahead.
in my
Sorry.
understanding, if you're not a professional, you don't really need to be using any of these pads for heavy cutting, because you can really mess up the paint as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It takes practice and time. You definitely don't want to jump in with a rotary with a wool pad on a vehicle, and you'll burn right through the paint if you definitely don't know what you're doing. It's something that takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. So even though you may be able to buy the stuff at home, everybody, go talk to a professional detailer if you want to learn it. Let them show you how to do it, and then practice on something that doesn't matter until you get good at it. So
yes,
go
sir.
ahead,
I mean, there's a lot of good tutorial videos out there with the internet and everything today. Everything's out there, and it's easy to learn. I've been detailing since I was probably 16, 17 years old, and my father always kept his vehicles clean. My late stepfather was a truck driver. Always kept his trucks super clean. They were always polished and waxed, and he did a little detailing on the side. So a lot of my trade I've picked up through the years from my family and working at a detail shop when I was a young man. And I've had a lot of different vehicles, and I've always kept my vehicles super clean, which doing my car and other people's cars for them is what led into Bettis Automotive Designz to what it is today. So it's an art, but it's fun to do. It's amazing to take something scratched and swirled and bring it back to glass like you see on John's truck. Definitely.
Oh, that's exactly what you see on John's truck. But now BullSnot took full credit for it. We didn't give you any credit for the work. I just told him my wax was that damn good.
BullSnot wax is absolutely that damn good. We use it here a lot at the shop on detailing cars. I use all your products here at the shop, and I've told you a million times what you have is magic in a can. And everybody out there, BullSnot products, I've never used anything like it in my 35 plus years of doing this. I can't figure it out, man. You're a genius, and my hat's off to you for the products you have.
Well, I appreciate all that. I don't know about the genius part. I just put a lot of work and love in all my products, and I won't release them till they're perfect and approved by the posse.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't your wife do some hand painting when you're doing the paint corrections as well on the paint job?
So she did a lot of the paint correction that she did. She did pretty much all the fenders and stuff on the hood of the truck. And that was just multiple stages of compounding. It's taking a little small section and working it at a time. She really got into learning paint correction from me just a couple years ago. She wanted to learn it. She was finally, built up the courage to do it. And I put her on a Mazda Miata that we did and turned her loose. And that thing turned out like a mirror. It was absolutely amazing. And she's loved it ever since. She's a big part of this business, and her attention to detail is like no other as well. She's very focused on what she does all the time.
Yeah, I was under misconception that she actually, where there's like deep, scratches in the paint, she'd actually take a paintbrush and do that. But that's not the case, is it?
No, but we do. We'll do rock chip and paint repair. We can actually I have a place downtown here in Little Chute, Kakana, here in Wisconsin, that I can actually get your paint mixed up, and we can actually fill in little rock chips and scratches as long as they're not too bad. And normally you can wet sand them out and blend them right back into the paint, and they'll be barely ever noticeable. And most of the time they're not noticeable at all. So that's another part of detailing. It's kind of an art.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm gonna stick to chemistry. I'll let you do the detailing because
I got
I
a
definitely
little
don't know
bit of a
what I'm
background
doing.
in bodywork and paint too. I dabbled in that for a while at one time. So a lot of my different things put together for detailing has really helped us be successful.
Well, on a big truck like John's, and John's is more than just a big truck. He's got the 120-inch sleeper, plus he's got the extra long wheelbase to put his Harley behind it.
Yes,
How
indeed.
long? I mean, to, how long would it take to actually paint correct a truck if you were unrushed? If you could, I know John's was on
Um,
time constraints, but it still
on a
turned out
truck his
amazing.
size, if you're working 8 hours a day, I think you could knock it out in about 4 to 5 days to do it absolutely to perfection. And that would include getting
Yeah,
into wet sand and anything that needed to be wet sanded out. Some of the deeper scratches you do have to wet sand. On his case, we polished it to, in the amount of time we had, we polished it to as perfect as we could get it in the amount of time we had. But it all depends on how much time you're going to spend. It's a lot of area to cover. It's a lot of surface on a truck like that. I would think to do it right, every bit of a week, 40 hours or more.
wow. Now you bring up a term that I want to make sure that I understand. Now, wet sanding, when to somebody that's not in your business, they'll think sandpaper and water, and I know that's not
Yes.
what it is.
Uh, to a point, you're using sandpaper and water. So when you get into scratches, you kind of really need to know how much paint you're working with. So the clear coat that's over the paint there's paint measuring devices that you can use to measure it. Um, I have enough experience in this business where I can look at paint and say, yep, not touching that. Or, yeah, there's plenty of clear there. And I have enough to work with that I can get those scratches out. And it's multi layers of wet sanding, anywhere from 800, 1,000 grit on up to, 3,500 or even higher. To blend those, you wet sand that clear coat to get that scratch out. You're taking a little bit of material off, and then you're polishing it right back to a luster. And that's the great thing about clear coat paints. You can doll it up, and it will polish out, but you only have so much clear there to work with before you're through it and down to the actual paint, and then you're in big trouble. So it's not something I recommend for the average person to try. Definitely not.
So, so the clear coat itself, you're basically sanding off the clear coat, but still not to. I guess think of like a cake with icing. The cake part is the paint, and the icing is the clear coat, and you're
Yes, sir.
taking some of it off, but not all the icing off.
Yes, just
But
just
and there's still going to be some
very
clear
minimal
coat left.
amounts. hmm Very minimal amounts, and
Well,
and what we try to do is I'm about preservation. I want to preserve as much original material as there. So I'm not knocking any other companies out there, but we don't go straight into wet sand in a car or a truck and then polish it back out. That's to me, the clear coat's on the vehicle to protect it over the longevity of its lifetime. And when you invest in a
sure,
vehicle, some people invest in their vehicles. They're going to have it for a very long time. You want to preserve what's there. So that preservation is important, and that's what we do. Um, I won't ever get into wet sanding the panel one unless the customer wants it and they want those scratches out. There's risk involved. It's an insurance risk for me as well, but we will only do it if the customer requires it.
sure. Y'all don't ever put sand it all the way down and put a clear coat back on, do you?
No, sir. No, sir. If I've
Yeah,
had to
because you
do
have to
that,
have
I've
a
had to have it painted, and
paint
that cost
shop.
me quite a bit of money.
Yeah. So he can correct your paint as long as you didn't make your girlfriend mad and she went out there with a key and scratched it.
Yeah,
If you scratch
there's a
down the
limit
metal, there's
to
nothing you can do.
there's a limit to the depth of a scratch that you can get out. That's absolutely, man, and that's a good way to put it. I like that.
So, and what's the most unique thing you've ever had to, you know, detail?
um, Here lately, unique wise, we've done everything from side by sides to even a John Deere tractor lawnmower. Believe it or not, I'd say
that
we
that
we
had to be a
recently did
special
a golf
lawnmower.
cart for a gentleman. I've done a side-by-side. I've done a bunch of Harleys. I've done some, newer, very new muscle cars. John's truck. We've detailed a couple tractor trailers here. I would say the most unique would have to be that little John Deere tractor. Or actually, let me take that back. Over Christmas, a friend of ours reached out and he bought his kids some the little battery powered four wheelers, or actually he bought them not battery powered. He bought them a snowmobile, a small children's snowmobile, and a four wheeler. And he asked if we could detail them to make them look new to present to his children for Christmas. That is the most unique thing we've done here at the shop.
That was awesome.
And he was absolutely blown away, and his kids absolutely loved it. Yeah, that was interesting to do. I'll send you some pics of those later so you can see that.
That had to be fun because, I mean, you're making so much Christmas. I mean, how much better could it get?
Yeah, and it was really fun to do. My wife and I were out here. It was really exciting to see those, come back to life and really shine. To get them back in the condition they were in to what we could was astonishing. And that's what makes us proud of what we do. It's taking something and bringing it back to where it looks new again or better.
Well, is there anything that you would advise the general public not to do to their vehicle as a detailer?
Avoid car washes with automatic brushes. I know a lot of people get in a hurry and they want to get that done. You're better off doing more frequent washes with the brushless ones than you are waiting until it's super dirty and going through a brush car wash. With today's modern paints, they're getting thinner and thinner with the clear coat. And think about it, everybody else has been through those car washes with the brushes and their dirty vehicles. And that dirt is actually, it may seem like it's clean, but it is destroying your paint. It really is in the long run. To me, the old-fashioned way of getting out there with a bucket and washing it, and there's even special ways to wash by hand that, I'm not going to get into in this interview, but avoid automatic car washes with brushes. That's the biggest thing. And if you're going to wash it by hand, keep your mitt, your sponge, whatever you have, rinse it out every time before you stick it in the bucket. That way you're not dragging dirt and stuff back onto the surface.
Because that's very important. Most people don't understand that.
Yes,
how does somebody get in touch with you if they want their car detailed?
My number is 920-574-0933. Our address is 840 Moesis Drive here in Little Chute, Wisconsin. I am a part-time detailing business. As much as I'd like to be full-time, I do have a full-time position that I work every day, but my wife is out here during the day, and I can put you in touch with her if you needed to come by and have her look at a car. But Bettis Automotive Designz.
You got a website too.
Yes, sir. We have a Google site. You can Google us, Bettis Automotive Designz LLC, and all of our stuff will pop up. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have my Google website, and my email is bettisautomotivedesignz@gmail.com. So anybody needs something detailed, semi-trucks, you name it. We do boats, Harley Davidsons. We'll detail just about anything. And I mean, farm tractors, you name it, we'd be glad to take care of you. We definitely would.
Yeah, he does amazing work. I mean, I've seen a lot of his work besides John Hiley's. It's just, when I saw John's, I was just blown away. And now that he's going to be in a calendar with that truck after it's been detailed, and it's on a YouTube video, I was just blown away how good that turned out. And so that's the reason I wanted
at Tony's
you to be on the show.
Thank you. At Large Cars and Guitars, I'm never 100% happy with my work. I'm my own worst critic. Down there at the show when Wade Jennings was on and it was nighttime, I happened to take some pictures of the paint with the stage and the paint, and it really made me proud. It's so clear, and the collar pops so much from the reflection. And he got a lot of compliments while we were there, and the truck really turned out great. I was proud to be a part of that, and to actually be at the first Large Cars and Guitars as well, and to meet you. Absolutely a phenomenal time, and I can't say how proud our shop is to be a part of that whole thing.
And
And
what
John's truck
Charles ain't
is
telling
like
you,
no other. Sorry.
oh yeah, and what Charles is, and I said what Charles is not telling y'all is, because he's modest, at that show the kids judged the truck show, and so took all the politics out. They had to be kids, and they went and picked their favorite truck, and that was the favorite truck of the whole show. And there's over 100 trucks in that show. That's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
So
That
the
was
truck that he paint corrected won the whole truck show.
that was absolutely amazing. I was blown away by that. And like you said, it was the children voted on these trucks. It took all the anything out there in the show world, it took it away. The kids decided which truck they liked the most, and I think that was a really cool idea. And I'm proud of John's truck to win that, and for us to be a part of that. It's astonishing. It really is. And I got to see some
It
of the
was
kids
cool.
walking around and looking at the trucks, and it was interesting. I really liked that portion of how the show was set up.
I did too, and it was a very good show. Well, we're running out of time here. Charles, appreciate you being on the show. If y'all need your big trucks paint corrected, contact Charles. It's Bettis Automotive Designz. That's all you do is Google it. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, just hit the subscribe button right below. And truly appreciate you being on the show today, Charles.
Thank you.
Hope y'all have a great
And that's
week.
designs with a Z at the end, and there's a purpose for that. Thanks. Appreciate it, Van. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your product. And we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. See you, buddy.
Thank you.